Hello everyone, my name is Clay, and welcome to Terminally Nerdy's Indie Impressions, the video series where I look at independent and non-AAA titles giving you my quick first impressions after at least 2 hours of gameplay. And today, we're going to be looking at the shop management action RPG roguelike Moonlighter, which again I played using Xbox Game Pass for PC. Awesome service, love it. So Moonlighter was kind of an interesting game, and when I saw it when it came out, I was very interested in it, but never got really around to playing it until just now. Essentially what you're doing is you're playing as a character named Will in a small town that came about after these 5 gates appeared on the edge of town. And originally all these adventurers would go to these gates, and the town kind of had a boom, and then eventually it became too dangerous, so they shut everything down, and the town basically fell into disrepair. But Will is the last person to own a shop called Moonlighter, and he's obsessed with opening the 5th gate, which no one has ever done. No one's even sure how to do it. And you basically play as Will, alternating between managing your store and going into these different dungeons for loot, which you then sell at your store or use for upgrades. Gameplay's pretty straightforward. It feels very like Zelda, in that each dungeon is made up of a sequence of rooms. Every time you go in the dungeon, the rooms are randomized, as well as the events and things that you find in them. And that's kind of where you get your lore and your story. You'll find notes and things in there. You'll find a lot of enemies, treasure chests, all sorts of stuff. What you'll do is you go in and you basically have, I want to say, 25 inventory slots that you can fill up with items from inside of these. Then you use your pendant to teleport back outside. You can then either sell them in your shop, you can store them for upgrades and new weapons, and that's pretty much the entire gameplay loop. Go into the dungeon, collect stuff, come back out, sell the stuff to upgrade your store so you can sell more stuff and get better prices, and to upgrade the town so you can get things like a guy who sells randomized material items so you don't have to necessarily go hunting for them, a blacksmith who will build you new weapons and gear, a enchantress who will sell you potions or enchant your weapons and armor so they're more protective or they deal more damage. And you're going to need those upgrades. In fact, playing through it, I kind of started getting frustrated very early on because the game doesn't explain a whole lot to you. So I would easily beat the first floor of the first dungeon, which is the Golem dungeon. I'd get to floor 2 and get my ass handed to me repeatedly. And eventually I managed to get some armor upgrades and get a new weapon. I actually went with the fist weapons and got those to level 2. I got the second upgrade of the fist weapons, and all of a sudden I breezed through floor 2 like it was nothing. So the upgrades are highly important, but the game doesn't really indicate that. And a tip that I want to give you guys, if you decide to play this, when you go to the blacksmith, you can wish list items. This is an incredibly useful feature because what that does is it puts a star on any item you pick up that is used for one of your wish list items. So if you're like wish listing a particular set of chest armor, you wish list it, and then when you go in the dungeon, anything necessary for that chest armor will have a star, so you know, oh, I don't want to sell that item. As long as it's in your inventory or in your stash in your house, you know not to sell that because you need that for one of the upgrades that you're after. Upgrades are going to cost you gold and materials. And you get that gold by running your store. It's a pretty simple kind of almost minigame thing. At first you'll only have 4 spots to sell. The first time you do your shop upgrade, you get upgraded to 8 spots. And you basically put the items on the spot in a stack and you set the per item price. So if you set, 10 items down and you set their price to 10, it'll be $100 for that stack. NPCs will come into the store, and they basically make little speech bubbles over their heads to indicate how they feel about the price. So it's like, if they get gold in their eyes, you've set it too low. If they get like angry face, you've set it too high, and you kind of manage it. And after you sell enough of the item, you get it stored in this merchant handbook that you can easily reference using the trigger keys. Overall, the game is a lot of fun, but it's very, very repetitive because that loop never changes. It's go in dungeon, get stuff, come out, sell stuff, go in duff. It's just over and over and over again. And the gameplay is a very simplistic action RPG with a dodge roll. So your different weapons do act differently. The sword and shield allows you to block attacks. The fist weapons are extremely fast, which is why I liked them. There was a great sword I messed with, which I did not like. The swing was too slow. There was also a spear and a bow, which I didn't unlock because I have zero interest in either of those things. Overall, I had some fun. I played it for about, I'd say, 3 hours. I probably won't play it again, to be honest. I've kind of had my fun with it. It reminded me a lot of a game called Recettear. Only Moonlighter looks phenomenal. Like, visually, this game is beautiful. The animations are stellar. It's easy to tell, you know, what the enemies are doing. Once you get used to the enemies, you kind of start recognizing patterns in particular ways that they fight. So, you get the hang of it. Now, a couple of other little things that the game does not explain. There's a pet system. I have no idea how the pets are unlocked. Zero idea, but I unlocked 2 of them. So when you come out of your house, you're going to see to the right, like a little fenced-in area. Your pets will show up in there, but I don't know how they show up in there. I unlocked a turret and one of the little bladey guys. So basically, they're copies of the monsters you fight, and they act like those monsters and do the same things those monsters did. Like, the first one I unlocked was the copter one with these blades. When you fight those in the dungeon, those copter dudes will, like, pick up items and, like, run away with them, so you have to chase them down. Well, your little copter dude, once you get him, which I'm still not sure how I got him, because there was no, like, achievement window or anything that popped up saying I unlocked him. I just walked outside and saw him. He will pick up items and bring them to you. Additionally, the damage those pets seem to do seems to scale off of yours. So when I got the first upgrade for my fist weapons, my pets went from dealing 5 damage per hit to 11 damage per hit. So it looks like the better your gear is, the better they do. So that's a thing. Anything else I want to think of? The music's pretty good. I like the music. It fits the theme. The town music and the theme music is really nice and calming. I probably wouldn't go seeking it out. Sound effects are pretty bog standard. Nothing to write home about. And I want to say the game right now is $20, and I think it's probably worth that if you're into this sort of game. There is a DLC that just came out for it. I didn't get to mess with it, so I'm not going to comment on if that DLC is worth a damn or not. I'd say this is easily worth about 15 to 20. If it's more than 20, I would not bother with it. It's just too repetitive, and if you want a game like this, you could actually probably get Recettear for a lot cheaper. And Recettear actually has like a life sim built in. This game really doesn't. So this game, like, you talk to the townspeople, they repeat the same thing. There's not a whole lot that they do here. Let's see, Moonlighter. I'm just gonna yeah, it's $20, and the DLC is $7. So I'd say it's worth about 20. If what you're seeing on screen is interesting to you, feel free to pick it up. There are some hidden secrets and stuff, certain rooms. I fell down and all of a sudden I'm in like a trap room. Some cool stuff like that. And I'm curious what the other dungeons look like, but I'm not curious enough to keep doing the repetitive gameplay to get there, honestly. So, as always, if you like what I'm doing, feel free to hit that like button. If you don't like what I'm doing, feel free to hit the dislike button. Feel free to leave a comment. Have you played Moonlighter? How did you like it? How far did you get? Feel free to visit me on Patreon, patreon.com/terminallynerdy, to get every one of these videos early, as well as all of my writing early, and basically everything I do early. Visit me on Twitter, twitter.com/terminallynerdy, and visit my website, terminallynerdy.com, for, well, everything that I do. But as always, thanks for watching, and remember, stay nerdy, everybody, and have a great one.